Yeah, small introduction to Ritesh, and I'll just allow him to speak. So I got to know Ritesh when Ritesh and I had enrolled for a deep coaching intensive program with Leon Vanderpool. This was 2022 Jan, right, Ritesh? Okay. So 2022 Jan is when we met each other. I mean, there also we had a cohort where we had a peer coach and a client, and also Ritesh used to be my coach in that cohort. Uh, After I got my MCC in 22 May, sometime towards the end, he reached out to me saying that he wanted to look at his MCC journey. And for whatever reason, I think it got delayed. He was traveling. He travels extensively outside the country. And finally, we decided to start working in 23 July. So 6 months we worked together. And he put his application on the 15th of January. I remember all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it took, I think, about 8 to 10 weeks or so for the coaching education to get verified. And then after about 4 weeks, you got your this thing done, right? So here we have PCC coaches who are in their MCC journey. Some of them are part of my cohort. Some of them are exploring to be mentored by me on the MCC journey. So that is the participants here. So I allow you to lead this conversation. I'm just going to be a fly on the wall and listen to your story. I'll start with one question and I'll just hand it over to you and then you can carry on. One is, you started your ICF credentialing maybe about less than 5 years ago, and you got to your MCC in short time from all the people that I know of. I want to know your journey, and I'm sure all of them want to know your journey as well. That is number one. Number two, you had a lot of options to pursue your MCC credentialing. What made you to choose portfolio? Those are the only two questions I have. You can speak your mind and then you can interact with the rest of the people.
Sure. Thank you. Okay, so first of all, thanks to all of you who are here, and the very thing that you're all present here is something which tells me that yes, there is that inclination of wanting to reach to that milestone of being an MCC, and it's a wonderful place to be. That is something which I can tell you. My journey, as Srikanth said, I started it formally on December 2021, which is about 3.5 to 4 years. That's all that my formal education, if I may say, my training for ACC and then for the PCC and then this journey of MCC that came in. But yes, I have been into education industry doing various kind of things for close to about 19 years. And that's where I first experienced my flair for mentoring when I did a lot of pastoral care in school for children. And I saw that, yes, what I talk to them and the way I bring around my presence with them, it makes an impact. And then, as it happens with most of us, someone comes and tells us there is something like coaching out there. Why don't you try it? I was told about it. I said, okay. I got connected with an organization in Mumbai who used to do certification. The most fortunate part is that at every stage of all the four things, I'll say the ACC, the PCC, MCC, and I'll also mention the deep coach intensive here. I've got the best of mentors, people who were somewhere nowhere wanting to motivate me. They were just being themselves, and it acted as a huge inspiration for me from where I was looking up to them. Whatever I needed in those people, in that moment, I got it. So I'll tell you how. When I did my ACC, I had a mentor called Peter Redding. He was someone who deepened my belief in the work of coaching simply by being what he was, not about what he coaches, how he trains and stuff like that. And that was my initial days with what coaching is about. for me, it is a very, very sacred job. I live my divinity through it. And if there is anybody who is a non-believer here, I'm not sure, then pardon me for using certain words, but I'm sure you'll be able to connect your own sense of divinity, whatever it means for you. Then came Leon, through my PCC was happening, which was again with Peter, and the Deep Coach Intensive was happening. Manifestation of what transformation looks like. For me, that is the word which I use for Leon always. I've known him for close to about 2.5, 3 years now. And in these 3 years also, though I looked at him up to him as mentor then, I've seen him live that transformation. Every 3 months, I see something which I never used to see earlier. And he embodies that. Then came the MCC, and that's where Shrikant came in. And I never knew that he got his MCC in the May month of 2023, right? Sorry, 22.
22, yeah.
22. Okay.
2
Okay.
years ago.
Okay. So he got it in May of 2022. And my first thought of wanting to try for MCC came in May 2023. So it was just about, maybe he was done, he was made into an MCC and concretized into that for being my mentor to start with. So that happened there. And that again, this thing happened when I had a conversation during one of my retreat in Bali, when I went with Leon. I never wanted to do it. I'll be very honest with you. I never wanted to do MCC. I don't go and coach in corporates. I'm not coaching executives who are working at senior levels, CEOs and people. My niche is into relationship coaching. And though I have coached people who work at that level or who are very senior into their own jobs, I've only worked with them at a very personal level. And 10% of my work would be related to their work. 90% is about their personal lives and what they are. And as I said, I never wanted, or I was never inclined for being an MCC. And that is something which worked for me. I had a conversation with Leon where he told me, Ritesh, what's the next step now? And I said, that is it. I'm done. I just want to live this now. And nothing. So he said, why don't you do MCC? I said, I'll have to go back to the ICF ways of doing things. And I'm sure Shrikant would be able to relate to it. I used to relate to it so much that time. And he said, what do you mean by ICF ways of doing things? I said, no, Deep Coaching Intensive, we work from here, complete our heart and stuff like that. And I don't want to, again, cage myself into what we say markers and the language of competencies and all of that. And he said, no, the way you coach, and I've seen you coach, you would not have to make much of an adjustment. You keep your Deep Coaching Intensive here and you keep your ICF things here at the back of your mind, and you'll be able to crack it. I said, okay, I'll see. And I came back, and then Shrikant's work was all over whatever he was doing. And in those days, he used to be like pitching himself out there and expressing himself a lot. And I used to get fascinated by that, because whatever I knew of him, I could relate to it very, very much, that whatever he's putting out, it's a genuine thing coming out of him. I connected with him. We met, I think, half an hour, 1 hour meeting, very short meeting we had that day, one-on-one. And again, as he said, I keep on traveling. I was not able to get into it immediately. But when it started, and when I said that, yes, now I want to do, I was very clear about the kind of mentor I'm looking at. And why Shrikant came as the only choice, and I won't say one of the people, as the only choice there, is because my definition of mentor there was more of a teacher. I knew, because I am not that inclined that I have to get done with the MCC, I might let it go in between somewhere. I start and then I don't pursue with it. And I wanted someone who I can look up to as somebody who is disciplined, who will be able to direct me and take me through that path, and not let it be or let it go in between. And Shrikant was like exactly there. as he said, my experience of coaching with him was when I coached him as a peer coach. So I never knew him as a coach. Like I never experienced his coaching. But with all the things that I had experienced of him, his articles, the things that he writes, I knew that he's very clear in his thoughts. The way he puts it, it is very, very in a structured way. And I was looking for someone. And I'm so glad I did it with him. Not sure if it is like one of the fastest to MCC, but I'm very, very sure that to have chosen 2 recordings with him, which he helped me with, and the first very 2 to get passed, that's something which I owe completely to him. And this would not have happened for sure. I don't know if today also, if I was with some other mentor, I would have been recording like kar lenge, stuff like that. We will do it. But with him, it was not that. And that's what I always tell him, that to have completed it, the credentials, and to have reached there in time is completely what I owe to you. So a lot of people have called me after the MCC is done, that and some who know both of us, and they have called me and asked of, okay, we are looking at as Shrikant as a mentor. I told him also a couple of times, and what is your view? And I told very unfiltered view about, he fitted the bill for me completely. And if there is somebody who is looking at, no, we can't have somebody who may want us to do things in a certain way, not that his way, but he picks up your right way. He'll be able to customize it to, this would work for this person. And that is what he did for me. He understood. I also gave a download about what I am looking at, and he asked me, what is it that you are looking at? But then he could have told, no, these are your thoughts. We can do it this way also. He never did that with me. He completely understood that, okay, if this is what your path is, I will come and walk with you on that, which eventually shows what a coach does also. Do it the client's way, get into their zone and do it. And that's what he did with me. So yeah, MCC came. Has MCC changed things for me? In some ways, yes. Work-wise, I never intended to use it, and I'm still not sure if I'm going to use it anywhere. Okay. So that's why when he asked me also, I would want you to come and talk to people. I was like, because I don't see I've not met a lot of people who would not want to use it for work. So I'm not sure where it fits. Coming to the second question, this was about my journey with it. Why I chose the portfolio path. I didn't want to make it into a very theoretical thing for me. There is one thing of becoming credentialed, which is what I say of becoming an MCC coach. And there is one thing which I believe in more, which is about being an MCC coach. I think I chose it because working this way, the portfolio path, getting into experiential, you don't pick up those 2 recordings, which are just the first recordings that you do. You go through a lot of sessions that you explore with the mentor, and then you come and you keep on refining on the way. It is not that your first one is all wrong and the last one is all right. You'll keep on picking, okay, this one you did well there. This is what can fit in well. This suits with you. If I have to say, real-time feedback and corrections that keep on happening, or alignment that keeps on happening. That is something which could not have happened in any alternate way. And very important there is to pick up and understand which mentor, again, I'm using this, which mentor fits you. For me, I was blessed that I could make that right choice and I had the right person to do it with. This was my thing, that I didn't want it to be very theoretical. I still believe, as I said, becoming an MCC coach happens the day you get that certificate. But your recordings are going much before when you submit that, even if it is because of that, right? Your coaching sessions are still happening with your clients. Being that MCC coach has actually happened much before you have got credentialed, because you have got credentialed on something which you submitted four months back. So that means you were coaching at that level, right? And I have done ACC also, I've done PCC also. I think this is between DCI and MCC is where I have seen me living as a coach also. Now there is nothing which can take me ever, and it does not, to being a mentor or anywhere, even like 1% of mentoring somewhere. It does not. And that happens in life too. So whenever somebody talks to me, and it's not that I talk to my family as a coach or I talk to my friends as a coach, no, but wherever I feel, wherever I see an opportunity that this is where I can get into an advisory zone, I can get into becoming a mentor and not a coach, there's a red flag that comes in. And that's why I say being an MCC for me is more important than becoming credentialed only as an MCC. And anybody who becomes, first you be, and once you have reached that level, becoming, it's just a matter of time. I don't know if it can happen reverse, that without being an MCC, you can still get credentialed. Maybe it happens. It will show up. It will show up for sure. For some people, it might be an alternate way, not the portfolio way, which works. I don't know if it suits them that way. For me, why it worked was I wanted to not say that I've learned it and now I'm going and giving an exam and see if I have become an MCC coach. Now I've learned it all. Now I'll go and submit 2 recordings and see what happens. I wanted to understand my journey, how I am moving from point A to A1 to A2, and then I reach a certain point. And for that real-time live feedback. And as we say, coaching happens. I'm sure everyone, before I stop and allow you to come off, all of you to come in, as we say that coaching generally happens between 2 sessions. I think this mentoring also happens between those 2 sessions that I did. Because what he says, either I'm not practicing that as a coach during when I'm getting mentored. If I'm doing that, I do not have time to process what he has told. That time I have to be that active listener, just like I would be as a coach, not making my notes in that time. Okay, this is what Shrikant told. But if I have got the essence of that in that 1 hour that he has spent with me on a recording, or giving those small nuances in between, at times, the way he's listening to a conversation with his eyes closed, I know this is something which he's catching, because that's where you also understand your mentor, if I may say, as a mentee, right? It's not only about when he speaks, I have to understand. Okay, this is because he's listening to it for 10 minutes and then maybe he's making his own things in his mind. I want to speak these 4 things to Ritesh. What if he forgets one out of those 4? But if I am being present completely while he's listening to it, to his body language, to his expressions, that is what worked for me. So what I wanted to share here, more importantly, was path. Everybody knows what will work for them. Understanding your mentor as much as it is important for them to understand your mentee, you as a mentee, it is very, very important. And that's what I think worked for me. Like, it fitted the bill completely. So yeah, that has been my journey, and portfolio path only because I wanted to understand my journey of here to here, where I've come. And yeah, thank you, Shrikant. It has been it's been a beautiful journey. I lived it completely. Yeah. Thank you. Anything, because I don't know if I'm good at speaking. So you ask and I will tell whatever it is.
Thank you for sharing. I didn't realize that you got to MCC in like 3.5 years. I thought
Yeah,
it
it
was
is
more time.
total of
Anyway.
3.5 years. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So I leave it to the other people to get in and just ask your questions. Ask their questions. I'm just going to go quiet. Okay, somebody has to speak.
Yes,
Hi.
please. Hi, Goldie.
So I'm very, very impressed with all of this. But my first question is, how did you manage 2,500 hours in 3 years?
Okay.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
So one is I don't do anything else. This is my full-time job. And I slowed down with my coaching only in the last about an year or so. I would say when I was in this MCC journey. Before that, I've done 4 sessions, 5 sessions a day. Okay. And it was beyond 2,500 when I actually applied. It was much beyond that. my journey of, as I say, of coaching, it started when it was all COVID times and all. And maybe it becomes easy for me to say being a coach rather than becoming a coach, because business has come very easy for me. I am not a good business generator. I've worked for 16 years in my life into sales and marketing, and I've created success. Somebody asked me today, what is the last thing you would want to do and speak about yourself? I'll say I am a salesman or a marketing guy. I am not. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, even in this work, I've been blessed here, and which I know that is not a story which I can guide somebody on. So I have never seen a day where I do not have a work. I have not seen a day where I have not had a reference to talk to for probable work. And this is pure blessing. The only thing which I can maybe say that, okay, if I take credit for, and it is not of going out and pitching myself, but doing my work in a certain way. If I've done my sessions in a certain way, if I've done my coaching in a certain way, and I've made that impact, that would have maybe told somebody to go and talk to someone else who they know, that get it done from here. So even if you go and see my social media profiles and all, I am not much out there. Very off, like seldom I'll put something here and there. So 2,500 hours, it has just happened for me. And it did not happen like while I was submitting the application. It was actually almost done in that May when I decided now I'll go for an MCC. And I understand a lot of people do a lot of other work, and that's where it gets a little tough to manage with it. If you're giving your 8-9 hours to a job, right, then it obviously becomes a challenge that after coming back, maybe you can take a session or two in a day. If not, you'll have to keep it for weekends. There's a lot of planning that goes into it. I had only and only this work to do. The day, so before I even went into my ACC, I did a couple of, I don't know, some online courses of what life coaching is all about. Some online platforms which have actually no value attached to it. The very day I finished my, and I still have that certificate, you get that online certificate and you don't download it and you feel good about it in your initial days. I left my job. I knew this is what I want to do. And I knew other than this, I don't want to do anything else. The blessing was that the work I was doing, and when I started it, which is the most difficult days for a lot of us, is what were the most difficult days for the whole world. And people were looking for this kind of support. So anybody who got to know that, yes, I am feeling better because of someone, they were like, connect me to him also. COVID times, I was not free at all. And like Shrikant said that I travel a lot. Most of my clients have been outside of India. It was just about government allowing go travel. And within 10 days, I was on a flight. And since then, I've been doing it like that. So, but have I planned to get these 20? Yeah, I logged in every second. I know of people who say, we'll sit after 1 week and we'll make our log again. We'll sit after one. I have not. Even today, MCC is done. I do one session and I log it. That is somewhere where I can say that I was serious about my number of hours, but not only for MCC. It somewhere keeps me connected with the quantity of work that I do also. Even today. Today it is much less cumbersome because I don't do that much work now. I consciously try that I don't do more than 8 to 9 sessions maximum in a week. So I've reduced it drastically down now because I only want to do a certain kind of work with certain kind of people. That's it. So that logging has also come down drastically. But at one point it used to be, you have done a session, after 1 hour, there is another session, you can relax, go have a tea and come back. No, my session will get completed. I have my 10 minutes of self time to station myself, ground myself again. I'll first log in and then get up. So you can only log in those hours when there is business. People can do it when they are good with, put yourself out if you are doing other work. References. I think the most important for me which I feel can be very important for everyone, is when we are doing, how we are doing it, that one session. And that is very important. For me, it has worked that one gets you not 10, that one gets you only one. But then that one also will get you another one. That one will for sure get you another one. That is the only thing which has worked for me. But I've not missed. If I'm at 2539, I know I have done 2539. It just cannot be that, okay, I might have missed 10 somewhere. So I'm even today, I'm not at 2500, though I might have done it, but they are not logged. That I did not allow for me to, for sure. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rishi, are you holding on to your questions for the masterclass?
I need to maintain them as a secret. Otherwise, I'll be out of them. But I do have something, Ritesh.
Yeah, please.
What is the change that you've seen in your clients as you progress from ACC to PCC to MCC? Have you seen any change in them?
In the kind of clients?
Not just the kind of clients, that might be more of a demographic thing,
Mhm.
but in terms of how they were responding to your sessions, what was happening in their life?
Right. So the biggest difference which I'll say is that both me as well as my clients, I see having slowed down a lot. The sessions are much more subtle. The sessions are much more deeper. As I said, now I am in a space where I'm able to select. I'm able to pick who I want to work with. So MCC, and that's a conscious choice that after this now I want to slow down. But even during PCC, which is like neither ACC nor MCC in between, that's where it started to happen. Because my style of coaching changed. It was no more only focused on powerful questions. Oh, there cannot be silence. What if, oh, okay, I expected 2 minutes of silence and it has gone into now 4 minutes. What is happening here? Okay, so you don't play with your mind as a coach. And when you are not doing that, automatically, so in a session, for me, in a coaching session, a client responds to you and you respond to your client. It is a synergy and the common energy that works, right? I know my journey like that, what is happening. But a lot of times, clients already come into that space. But if I am not in that space, because of being, I am not wanting to say an ACC will work only at a ACC level. As I say, becoming an MC, being an MCC is different and becoming is different. I know of people who only have ACC credentials, but they are coaching much deeper than maybe a PCC also, right? Their experience with their clients would be deeper than an ACC. Same is with me. When I reached that PCC level in the middle of that journey, the deeper I went with my work, that's where I felt and found my clients to be. Today also I get clients who would be very, if I may call that work, very energetic in the session, and they would want to be like, okay, we want to work on, they'll come in with a kind of energy which would not be very, very calm. It would not be very serene. But then, one, you are matching their energy, but the way in which you match their energy together, that becomes subtle also. It does not remain running towards something anymore. They would still want to accomplish whatever they have come to accomplish in the session. They would still want to explore all the number of things that they would want to explore, not one, but 4 maybe, in that one session only. And no matter how much you bring them to that one filter, they will still go there. That happens. Okay. But then it's about how you carry them through that when they are going there. You can go there with them. I go there with them for those 2 minutes when they digress also. But then they know the way we have gone there. Okay. Because the platform is very open. It is that subtlety that sets into me as a coach. And that's where I see. So as I said, to sum up onto your question, I still get all kind of clients. But then they finally come and sit in a space, which if I have to say matches the space of me today in being that MCC or earlier and being that PCC level coach. Finally, it matches and they settle in there. But it does not change, as in I used to get only fast running, heavy energy clients earlier, and now what I get are very, very matured and very sober, and they want to do only deep work. No, it doesn't work like that. Today also somebody will come with something which is very, very, very practical. I want to talk on this thing only. Then no deep work on this. Just give me these 3 solutions for this. I'm not giving, but will work. And I want all 1, 2, 3 ways of doing this particular thing, which used to happen in ACC a lot. Every second client would be like that. Today people come and they just don't want to. So it's about, I'll give you an example. Somebody comes and say, I splurge a lot. I spend a lot. ACC 9 out of 10 would be, I want to know how can I stop it? I want to find out 5 ways of stopping splurging by the end of our session. Today, they don't want to, we'll work on how to stop. We want to know why I splurge. How to do it, I'll find out. You just get me to why it happens to me. And the work changes. Otherwise, they have come in there and they give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do this, it will stop. Do this, it will stop. Start counting. Don't use credit card. And okay, I would stop using credit card. I'll start using currency notes. So very practical ways of coming out with 5. Today, it is not about, I'm not bothered about it. I'm just giving a very, very, very ground level example on this, how it changes. And today it would be, I want to know why I do this. Once I know the why, either it will be, I want to keep on doing it, or I will find out my ways how to. That I don't need your help on. So that's where the clients also move. They understand, and people who have worked with me for there are people who are working for last 3 years. There I see the progress. I think Srikanth has seen the recordings of the person I submitted for MCC. That was the same person with whose recording I submitted for ACC also. And Srikanth, if you have the recordings, if at all it would work for you, Rishi, and you for everybody else, I'll be happy to share the recordings. You see how the client moves up and how, or maybe moves deeper. She has been with me. Her life is also parallelly going on. It's not only about me or the work that I would have done, but as a client, the kind of questions or the answers used to come or where she used to go. If I'm putting a question, for me, powerful question, but it maybe took her to a powerful space. Today, no question, silence takes her to a space which is much more deeper, but maybe not powerful. But when she gets out of that, it's magic. That makes this smile. Earlier, the smile used to be here. So that's the difference. But I can share the recordings if you want.
Yeah, Ritesh, please share the recording. I actually want to.
I will send her first.
Go through it for our own learning. Yeah.
And the latest one you anyways have. If you want, I'll share. Yeah.
I have the latest.
I'll send that. Even you will find me also silence and I'm like powerful question marker. It runs, but you still get ACC. It happens. That's a natural progression every one of us, I think, have gone through. Yeah. Thank you, Rishi. Thank you.
Ritesh, I heard you mention this couple of times initially when you were sharing. I don't actually use it in my work.
Yeah.
So what exactly did you mean by that?
Yeah. So when I say I don't use it for my work means to now go and pitch it that I am an MCC. So I feel the credentials, this is my idea. My feeling about the credentials, it helps you in 2 ways. One is to get you work of a certain level, which is clients of a certain level, or they will get you into more bigger companies or stuff like that. If you are doing the executive coaching in the corporate world, or it multiplies, and I won't say add, okay? It multiplies the charges per session that you can do. I think 2 work. One is about the coaching that you do. That I said, that is addressed. It does not impact there because that is about being the coach. That's not about becoming MCC. I have not used this credentials for both of those. One, I don't want to do that work, so it was not required for it. I don't want to go keeping my profile in an MCC I am, and I want to take this work now. I'm eligible to do this. I can do this now. See, if I've done 2,500 hours of coaching, ICF has credentialed me. So you can understand that I would be working at that level. So I can do a workshop for you and stuff like that. That's not the work that I want to do. Second is to raise your bar and say, okay, now that I am this, that means that my coaching sessions are at a certain level. So I'll convert it into the monetary. Why I have not done that, I'll very honestly share that also. I think, again, it has been a blessing. For close to last 2 years, I think I'm charging good enough, and I don't feel the need to go up there and materialize into a monetary benefit for me. That's the only thing. And because you need to have motivation, right? That why do I want this for me? As I said, when Shrikant told Ritesh, these 2 sessions, I think good enough, you'll be able to clear it. But we will still see. For me, I became an MCC that day. For me, that was done. Because somebody who has traveled that path has been able to tell me it is done. Who would be the person who would actually evaluate my recordings? Be someone like Shrikant, who has traveled that path and who knows what we should be looking out of it. So if one person has told me, and I know, knowing him, that's why I say very important as a mentor, he'll not say that to please me. Ritesh, you'll feel good, so I'm saying this for sure. So if I would have chosen a mentor who I may be like, this person may go on and say, okay, it's fine. Ab to ho gaya sab kuch, he will feel good. Then I'll be, no, I need to wait for it. In fact, if Shrikant remembers, I think he messaged me once in April. What happened? Is there any update on your thing? I was not even checking. And I said, okay, I'll check and get back to you. I was not even checking. Because for me, it was done and it had to reflect in my coaching sessions. And it was already reflecting. We had 4 or 5 recordings that we had kept. And we selected 2 out of that to submit. We were not saying we will record again. We were saying if at all something does not get cleared, we'll pick up one of the other ones and we'll do, which was again done by December. So using that level of coaching I was already doing, using credentials for me meant this, and that's what I have not been doing. So yeah, that was the difference.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ritesh, I have another question.
Yes, please, Rishi.
Because you've been through Leon's program, were you already PCC credentialed at that point?
It went parallelly at a gap of, I think, 1 month.
Okay.
So my foundation I did before PCC, and my intensive advanced certification and PCC came at a gap of about 2 months.
Got it. So probably when you were applying for PCC, you were already implementing whatever you were learning from the intensive.
Yes.
And then after that, how long was the gap between PCC and MCC?
PCC and MCC is about what? 18 months or something.
Right. So that whatever you've learned with the intensive might have solidified by that point, right?
Yes.
In terms of your ways of being, your ways of coaching people.
Yes.
So when you started off with the MCC journey again, whatever minor adjustments you had to make, can you expand on those in detail?
Yeah, sure. So I think all of you who are
that's a brilliant question. That's
yeah,
a brilliant
all of
question.
are
I
all
just
of
waiting
you,
for that question to come.
yeah, are all of you doing the cohort with Shrikant? Shrikant, I can share whatever we talked, right? It is free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of them.
So
Some of them
wonderful.
are
Okay.
there to explore.
Because I don't know
working with you.
about how to say the games of, or the rules of the game that's going on outside of this. Okay, so that's why I'm saying. Okay, so the only difference it made to me was, I'll tell you, big difference, and that is the one thing. When he talked to me about the 3 A's, the agreement, the awareness, and the action. DCI, there is no action. If it happens, it happened. It doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. The very start of the session, I don't need to be mindful of, I'm recording this and it will stay confidential. Very minor adjustments, okay? Very, very minor. But here I need to, because I'm submitting a recording and they want to know that, okay, the client has given his or her accord and it is being recorded. The very first question, What is it that you want to explore and accomplish? There only exploration is fine. Here they'll say, but you have not got into an agreement what should come out of this. Okay, they will explore this, but what? That's what I said. When I talked to Leon, now I'll go back to that conversation. I was like, I'm so happy saying, what do we want to explore? And then allow whatever shows up to show up. And for me, it was like, now I'll have to keep in mind that accomplish should come here, because there has to be an action at the end, right? And that is what somewhere put me in that May or before that May. I don't want to do MCC. I'm okay with the PCC. And like Sudha said, as I said, I was like, enemy is not going to use it anywhere. So it's fine. Leon told me, Ritesh, the coaching is there. You don't have to make changes or adjustments also. When you will bring these, I said, Leon, in sessions, there are like 10 minutes of silences also. How do I manage? He'll say, go and get your mentor and you'll be able to find out. Now for me, that one line I'm recording and this, that's not what I'm into deep coaching. Formality done, gone. And that was about practice, that these three aspects have to come in. But I'm sure Srikanth would be able to tell, we never said that first 10 minutes and agreement has to complete. We recorded almost, I think, 30-minute sessions, all of them. And it was about, even if agreement only takes 20 minutes, allow the flow to happen then. That is where deep coaching was in there. But it was not about 10 minutes of, oh, only 20 minutes left. When will awareness happen and when will action come? But eventually it takes its course when you have it there. That, okay, these three, this is the structure that needs to go in. And as soon as you say in the first, those 5 minutes, 7 minutes of agreement, it's not only exploration, it is about accomplishment. For sure, action will show up then. It is by default. Because even in a deep coaching session, even if at times for me it used to close in silence with silence, what is happening in that silence? It is that action of which was decided, I want to explore this further. So if the client wanted to explore this in silence without even saying a bye, even if we are closing the session, they're still exploring it. And that's what was meant to be in that session. Today they have said, I want to accomplish this. How can a session not go there? Do I take it there as a coach? I don't think so. Just like being active listener, it was only about, I think the recordings that actually we have submitted, if I look at it, it was not even in my mind, action, awareness, agreement, awareness and action. He told me, and again, as I said, the class in which he told me, I heard it. And it was between that class and the next class that the work on myself I did. And then with a recording, I came back. And after that, I think those three things happened flawlessly then after. These are very minute adjustments. If I would not have done DCI, I think for me, I would have got more involved into these three as practical aspects. This is for me, because I did it. Somebody who has not experienced DCI at all, maybe for them it would be like, yeah, smooth flow. For me, it would not have. DCI helped me for sure that around these three spaces, how to still connect at a deeper level. Because in these three also, you can actually float above, but then maybe your recordings will not get cleared. It will show up that, okay, agreement is done, awareness is done, action is done, something is missing. And just understand how tough would that be. If I talk now, markers, everything is done, something is missing. What is that something? Which mentor will be able to tell you then? What is that something? They also are not able to tell you. So it's better that something is there, and then we know, okay, this was missing. So that's where it worked for me. Yeah, very, very subtle things to be thought through before the session start. With this only, I'll tell one thing which worked for me, okay? And I think even Srikanth doesn't know at that till now. The first two recordings that I did, which I submitted, not the ones that we have submitted to ICF, which we explored. And I had a feedback on that and all. And when I reflected between the two classes, I understood, despite of me saying, okay, I'll be my natural best, this, that, something used to show up, this is getting recorded. And it never showed up during the session. Now I have that awareness. It is about 1 day before, 1 hour before today is the recording wala session happening. Eventually, because this client was with me for about 3.5 years, like from my third month of coaching till now, this client has been with me. I told her only one thing. I said, you decide which session has to be recorded. The recording permission was with the client. I will anyways get to know recording has started, accepted that all is happening, right? But I would not know at least 1 hour before that. I will sit with the right kind of energies for the session. And then if it is recorded, not recorded, fine. So as soon as I say hello, so I log in. Ritesh, today I'm going to record the session. Fine, perfect. That's the call. And then we again say hello and we start. So now I know only what 30 seconds before today it is being recorded. I cannot make any shifts now. There is nothing which will go in here or here and it will start playing. It does not. I don't even know aaj wala record hoga if it will get recorded or not. So I'm playing with it. And that's where I think it cracked. And the recordings, the first two themselves, they went through. I don't know where it showed up, but this is something when I reflected, it showed up that if I am thinking, oh, today I have to record and this, something very subtle used to come in and set consciousness, which I didn't want to. Okay, no, I don't want to be conscious about this will be recorded. 20-30 seconds because you're already into with the client, your work has started with the client. Then it doesn't allow you as a coach a space to get disconnected from the client and go into your mind and your brain and say, okay, now I have to be this action awareness. Okay, there's this agreement has to come in, this has to be spoken, nothing. She has just told me today I'm good with recording the session. Record. Perfect. This worked for me for sure.
Yeah, just to add to what Ritesh said, when I was preparing for my MCC, this used to play in my head as well. So, oh, I'm going to record, I need to put. But then I said, this is playing havoc on my head. I'm just going to drop all of this. And I just spoke to one client and I said, I'm going to record all our conversation if you allow me to give. She asked me, why would you record? So I said, I will take to my mentor or I will sit and analyze and I will improve. So she asked me that, so does that mean that when you improve, I will get better quality of coaching? I said, of course, yes. Then she said, you can record everything. So for me, when I was having a conversation, every conversation was getting recorded. And whenever I felt that, hey, this can perhaps go through the MCC evaluation, I just kept it aside and I used it for review and something. So that's the same thing I told Ritesh also. If you can just work with one client, we'll allow you to record. Just do that, because by the time your rapport is built, your trust has built, all of that. Even if the SS is not able to sense it, the client has a lot of trust in you and that will work.
So
yeah, that may be something that you all want to, yeah.
This question is to both Shri and Ritesh. Both the recordings, two recordings, what you submit to ICF, should it be of the same client?
It can be of same client, it can be different because it goes to two different SSs. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I just want to echo what you said about the client and choosing one client. And I haven't shared this with anyone, but I'm feeling it right now with me, with two clients as I'm on the journey myself. And it's very interesting that you're both, MCCs who are sharing the same echoing thoughts that I've been having for weeks now. So I guess it's something that you just, as you said, connect with the person, and it's a rapport. Again, I've been with this client for over a year, and I feel like it's got something there that can value and add value to my recordings. So I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I believe at the root of it, it is about, we all know what would allow me more to be me. So whatever is coming on the way, if it is 3 different clients, no, 2 is good, 1 is good, whatever. Rather than bringing in things to make it beautiful, if we can take out things which are coming in the way, which may not allow me to be completely me, that's easier, I feel. Because we all know this strikes here. This comes as a bottleneck. This is a speed breaker and that's all that is needed. Because there's so much you can bring in. I'm sure even today, Shrikant would know a lot of things or would want to know a lot of things where he can still get better as a coach. But that is a process which will keep on happening for life. But to get through credentials, what is coming in the way? So if we can just work on removing those, it becomes easier. The work becomes easier, I think.
Actually, now I don't want to listen to those coach recordings which got cleared by IC for my MCC. I feel they're very pathetic. Seriously.
Like
Rachel, you're smiling. Please go ahead and ask questions, Rachel. Smiling is not good enough.
No, I think, I primarily wanted to ask that question that Rishi asked, that, what was different between, what changed in you after the journey with Shrikant. So I think you kind of answered that. But why I'm smiling is because I've been having this thing of getting stuck in, I want to be the perfect coach before I submit my recordings, and it's that's what's been getting in the way. And we recently, when I was working with Shrikant, we had that discovery. We went for a retreat last weekend, and one of the exercises that we did, that was my discovery, that my need for perfection was getting in the way. So yeah, that's why I'm smiling when you said that, find what's getting in the way and get that out. So yeah, that resonates. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of times our need for perfection is like, I think from like how I feel about it is, it's also about how we define perfection, right? What is that level which is for you that level of perfection, right? You may reach there, and eventually whatever your level is, you may surpass that also. But what if it is your mind which is telling you this is perfection, but what is actually needed for you to clear this is also perfect? So we can always keep on raising the bar.
Yeah.
And you may not need to even do that consciously beyond a point, and you will see it is getting refined. Again, the word is refining is what? It's about taking out and leaving behind those, if I may use the word, impurities, right? The things that do not work anymore. So it's the perfection. I have to reach from here to here. Maybe it is about more refined. Who knows, you are already there. But you can still, after becoming an MCC also, like Shrikant is saying, if I look back at those recordings today, I'm like, oh, what was that? Which means after becoming MCC through those recordings, he is still, now he sees, no, I'm doing a much more refined, fabulous job today. He didn't say, "Aap ban gaya, so now it is like done. I can keep on coaching at that." He will look at his today's recordings after 3 years and he'll say what I was doing. That will keep on happening.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. So it is a continuous journey, and MCC is not necessarily the ultimate, and it's also not the place where you stop. So yeah, the journey continues lifelong.
Exactly, Rachel. That's a good point you made. MCC necessarily doesn't mean that you are coaching at a level of mastery. Let's be very honest about it.
Precisely.
It's not the destination. You just have to keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One more question.
Narayan?
Probably.
Yeah, sorry. Who was that? Who asked the question?
That's me, Rishi.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I've heard innumerable stories about how the first submissions get failed in MCC. Very few people who I know who have passed them in the first. So maybe you can share your thoughts on that generally. Why do you think that happens? What have you seen amongst your peers?
Okay. So my experience with that, I'll share mine first, and I'm sure Shrikant has a much larger experience with that. I think that's where I've been saying, and I've said that about 5-7 times, about the importance of choosing the right mentor. It is very, very important. There are mentors who I know, and obviously they are already at the MCC level, but when they take that hat of being a mentor. And I'm not shying away from using that word. Somewhere, even if they are not fully convinced, they'll say he or she has done enough. Now I should say this is enough. That honesty with which he said, and it's not, as I said, either those 2 recordings are not the first 2 that we listened to. We listened to quite a few recordings before that, at least 4, 5 we listened, and then he picked up one, right? He could have very easily told Ritesh, this is also good enough, we can try. But when he told me, he said, according to me, this is true. He never said, we will see. Obviously, we have to wait for the result. He'll say, let's submit this. According to me, this is true. And let's now hope for the best. These are his words. I know of people who, as mentors, will not be able to, because of what they are as people, would not be able to give you their honest opinion about that. So obviously, I need to connect with my recording, but I needed to have the right person in whom, when he says it is true, or I know he's not holding back anything. It's not that he thinks and he's now feeling, I've tried my best with Ritesh. I don't think today he can go better than that. He only said yes, according to me, Shrikant, correct me if I'm wrong, when he thought, if he's saying this will be true, according to him, if he was the assessor, it would be true at least. And that's the honesty that you need from a mentor.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah,
where I feel,
exactly.
so let's suppose I had another mentor who I am saying I've seen people like that. I had to still go with the feedback. And what if my mentor, the person X, would have told, go ahead, submit, with a thought, it could have been better, which will always be, but they also know where it could have been better. But I don't think now Ritesh has it in him, he can do. I know if Shrikant and me would not have done it in those 10 classes, he would have told me, Ritesh, 5 more.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's required. And that's where I said, as a mentor, I was looking more as a teacher. I've never been a good student myself. And that's a submission I'm making in this group. I've not listened to my teachers. But this was maybe the first teacher I actually followed blindly in my life. Other people you call of Leon, Peter, I never took them as teachers also. I knew that this is my shortcoming. If I don't listen to him as a teacher here for what he wants to tell, I would not learn, because there were things to learn. I had gone to a deeper level of coaching, which I said longer, much longer, 30 minutes from a 1 hour of a DCI session to this doing in 30 minutes. It needed a shift. I can't allow myself to go deeper. Okay, now this silence, oh, I can't break this for sure. I need to find a way to come out of that silence, because it is 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, recordings will keep on happening and no action, nothing will happen. Awareness, exploration, everything is happening, but I will never be able to submit.
Yeah.
So that right mix where the session makes meaning, I don't falter from that MCC, and at the same time in 30 minutes, through the ICF way, through the MCC way, what comes out is what maybe could have come out in 1 hour of deep silence, the DCI way. But same comes out in 30 minutes. I can't then allow, I'm loving this silence with my client, let it go to 40 minutes today. No, 30 minutes recording. That's it. So that has to be kept in mind. But that honesty of the mentor and that straightforwardness and that belief of the mentor, that what I am saying, I'm sure if I go into his shoes, before he says, according to me, done, how much he has to listen to it. With his eyes closed, what is going on there? I can't read everything, but I know there's a lot going on there. That's why I said I'll share and then he will get into it. Shrikant, I'm sure you'll be able to add a lot of value to this.
Yeah. So it's a good question that you asked. Rishi, I had a mentor. That person would give me a lot of feedback. You need to establish the agreement in 7 minutes, 8 minutes. And I was getting boxed and I was really getting messed. And one day I told, please coach me. And that is the day I decided I'm not going to get mentored by that person anymore. Yeah, giving feedback is completely different from, you have to walk the talk, right? So if you are giving such critical feedback, show it to me that you can also be a great coach, right? So 30 minutes conversation, I was getting very irritated. By end of it, I listened to it again. In 30 minutes conversation, some 40 or 50 questions, and half of them were closed question. I said, no, this is not the mentor that I want to continue. The thing is, ICF has to have somebody saying that an MCC has mentored. No, I went through the motions. And then luckily I had some other MCC who was willing to look at some of my recordings. And so I took some input from that person and sent 2 recordings. One passed, one failed. The one that failed, I mentioned that in the retreat also. This client is a very funny client. The person will crack a joke and shut the mouth. And I laughed. So in the feedback it was given, the coach's energy is very high compared, but coach has to maintain whatever, blah, blah, right? So I assume that was the reason that they failed me. But the resubmission I did, I made sure that I kind of plug all the holes and submitted, and that got cleared in like some 2 weeks. They cleared it. So the reason that I'm able to go to very detailed manner and give feedback is because I know what a failed recording looks like. I know what a successful recording looks like. I know both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I didn't realize that we have spent 1 hour already. Narayan, questions? DCI boy, meeting another
No, I
DCI
think,
boy.
no, I think, over the retreat, the conversations we had clarified a lot of my questions. And really, today, what I gathered from Ritesh really is, just that confidence and, just that desire to go and finish it. I mean, that's something that I need to find in myself, right? Really amazed by, how you planned and executed the whole thing in such a short time, Ritesh. It's for me, I'm giving myself more time, but that's also intentional. And
Yeah.
I think, but thank you. It's been very inspiring.
You're welcome, Narayan. I think just to add to it, that zeal is required, as you said,
Yeah.
and that push is required. But from where is that push coming from? Like, I think Goldie talked about the hours, right? I understand business itself becomes a pain point at times. And then that reflects on many other aspects, right? If we can keep these two separate, at least for the education of us as a coach or our progress as a coach and our work as a coach of the business, this path of becoming or credentialing at different levels, the zeal can even come from a place of like we talk of when we talk of manifestation. I think it's about that fun which is involved in that. What happens when I become that? For me, I think the only thing which has made possible is that I did not take it up here. I just did not take load of it. I had my own reason that it's okay, karna hi nahi hai, even if it doesn't happen and all. But when I got into it, then I was not about even if it doesn't happen. But I also knew what is the best chance or that I can present to myself to not make it happen now. And that would only be to let go of that easiness that I had around me as a coach. If I would have become, I was sincere about it, I never became serious about it. If I would have gotten serious with the process, I am sure that those recordings would not have passed by now, for sure. Because and that is the only thing which has worked for me. That's when people call me and they say, we want to talk journey, like obviously you guys are already on that. So it makes much more sense if somebody makes a personal call and talks. I don't have much to say because they're not those processes that I have followed. It's about living that journey, living each step as it shows up, and then acknowledging I am here. Like you said, I'm giving myself more time. So you're aware of why you are doing it, right? Same thing can be done. I'm giving myself more time. I'm not happy about it. Then why are you giving yourself more time? If you're happy about giving yourself more time, thumbs up, do it. Perfectly fine. Because that loosens up those deeper muscles in us and then allows us to do the right things, even the ICF way. As he just mentioned, you are from another DCI. So, but that ICF way, it becomes easier when we don't get engrossed in the ICF. Those competencies which Srikanth keeps on talking about, they are to be lived. They are not to be remembered. He told me, I still remember one day before exam, Go through that. Remember, he sent me a message and I did not. Because I know I'm living it. I didn't need to ratify it one word by word. No, I'll memorize it. No, not required, because I know when a question will show up, I know which competency will be used here. What is it talking about? And that's what I'm saying, being that coach. And that question is not saying only if you are at an MCC level coach, you'll be able to answer that question. No, PCCs also will be able to answer that. We are answering that as a PCC credential only, na? But we have already become that MCC. According to them, you answer it right, you pass it, and then we will make you an MCC. So I'm not able to make match of it here. You are already there. That's why you are able to answer it right. Right? So just enjoy the process, and it happens in its own time. For me, as I said, I used at the starting, it is divine work, which means it is divine process. And I'm not saying leave it all up there in the hands. These are divine hands. This is divinity. This is divinity. Just believe in it in that way, and it happens. It happened. It happened like that for me. So I coming here to talk can only talk about that. Yeah.
Okay, maybe one more last question and then we can wrap this up.
Sure.
Ritesh, you've been talking, Rolly here,
Yes, Rolly.
talking about being thing. So I understand being is coming value system kind of thing, where you talk about the belief in value system of a client when the transformation has to come, because that's where the all your behavior shows up on a surface level as you after DCI, because I remember the first ever batch of DCI was to be organized. I was part of it, but it got cancelled because of Corona, and then it got things, so I kind of couldn't attend it. But that certainly is a very deep transformation process. So when you were talking about your being level before DCI, were you in that same being level, operating under being level, or it was that transformation came to you after you were in this process of DCI? And what was that, working that when you had to work on your being level, what is that effort that you've put in?
Okay. So one is, to answer the first part of it, to me, how it shows up is that being level presence of your own self. It is like a spark. It shows up and spark doesn't stay, it goes off. It is just that in the initial level, like if I may call it before DCI times, I was already aware of my being, but it used to show up at times. When you go deeper with that, when I went deeper with that, it used to show up very often. But it does not stay all the time. Because you will still get angry, you will still get stuff, and you will be like, okay, why do you stay in that zone where you don't connect with your being? That is important. Okay, I'm just giving a reference. When I say being an MCC or connecting with your client at that being level, what I'm saying is that without effort, when it started to come to me that in those 30 minutes from that 1 hour session of DCI, I can now do the same work in those 30 minutes following the ICF way. Not the markers, but I will have an action which will come out of it. I will have an awareness which is completely the DCI way. I don't need to even call it an ICF or DCI way. Awareness is awareness. You're taking the client deeper. But at the same time, I won't have to put in an effort consciously that here I need to ask the client, what is it that you want to accomplish? It came naturally during that 1 year. And today, the session length has increased to 1 hour back, because I myself don't want to do half an hour sessions. So that I did for recordings only. But even today, I'm doing I can't say I've left the DCI thing. My being today as an MCC coach is 1 hour length of a session. It has an exploration and accomplishment talking about. It has a very long tenure or duration in between of exploration. And it also has actions coming out. At times you don't completely define the action, but the client will close it at saying, after this session or in the next week, I would want to work on this now. And they will have their actions created. They will either message it to me, mail it to me if they want to share. At times they don't. but the pattern is coming out clearly. It is not about that there is no accomplishment which is coming in. And I don't need to tell myself now, okay, intentionally I'm talking of accomplishment. If we can achieve that, if we can have an achievement, if we can have an accomplishment in addition to exploration, why not? There will still be people who will come and say, I don't even know what I want to talk about today. Let's start with silence. And then you are in silence for 10-15 minutes, which means, oh, you are not getting into any agreement here, right? Allow it. It is 1 hour that I have. Eventually, when they speak, when they break the silence, they get into, yeah, this is showing up and all. Okay, now when this is showing up, what would you want to do with this? Is there anything that you would want to achieve regarding to this in today's session? It goes very smoothly there, which I am saying, now I don't have to submit a recording today. Right? So I can be very unmindful. Chalo, silence, it's going on. DCI way. There's no DCI way and ICF way today. When I spoke about it, I was saying where I was when I started my journey. Today, it is all one. And that's what Leon told me. That's what Shrikant told me. Ritesh, not much of a thing. But for me, it was much of a thing at that time because I thought, nay, I don't want to leave the DCI way. So good. It's such a serene work. I don't want to go markers. This. It was never about markers. We never talked once about markers. There's no markers. When he also told me that this is clear, he did not tell me 1.1 is done, 1.2. When did you say that? No, it was like, this is good. He must have done his calculation. And he said, you have done, established the agreement. You have done this, awareness is there, action. That he told. But it was never about, out of 10, you have got 9, you have got 9.5. It was never like that. That he did not do with me. So I don't even know that if it was 10 on 10 or it was 9 on 10. But it was there to be submitted with a heart level thing. You might have is this also because of being a mentor. This will get cleared according to my experience. That's what he told. And for me, it was like my mentor is saying, I have to ask here, will he be completely honest? Yes, he will be. And that's all that I needed. So,
Thank you so much, Ritesh, because this is where I am today when you were before you started your MCC, that it's for so many markers and I have to know this. I already spoke to Shrikant. I don't know about this. He said, come to this 2-day retreat. I couldn't make it, but then that was the place where you can probably have more clarity. So I have that fear and you just clarified that, leave that and just be in the being.
Probably you are in a better place because despite of having those doubts or in that space, you are still wanting to be on that journey. Right? Me thinking like that, I was saying, I don't want to do also. I had left it. But it was meant for me and it showed up and right people showed up and it happened. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Good luck.
Probably
Good luck.
we are doing the workshop, residential workshop again in October. Please come. I've given advance notice.
Sure.
Don't.
You should. I would also want to come in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give advance
October if
notice.
it is, I'm here in India. So I'll be able to. Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
So Sudha, I already told you one recording is ready. I have told you already. Yours, I said one recording is already there, can be sent.
Beautiful.
And let's get one more. And I'm going to say that is not enough, and then we'll get one more.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Sudha, for one at least cleared.
And to be very honest, right, I didn't even know that this is what Shrikant is going to say for that recording. I think I could relate to all that what she and Ritesh were saying. I just wanted to be myself. But whatever she has shared with us during the group classes, I think it's all getting assimilated, like how Ritesh said, right, in between your sessions, either the one you record or something. It's just getting ingrained and assimilated. Yeah, more to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Wonderful.
Okay, so I think we are 15 minutes past time. I have a call to attend to. Ritesh has got. So I hope this conversation has been very useful to you. Ritesh, please send your ACC performance evaluation recording. We really want to compare that.
I will.
Really want to compare
For sure, I will. Yes. Tomorrow I'll send it to you.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Anything anyone ever wants to connect on and ask anything that I can be of help, I'm always there. And good luck to all of you. Good luck.
Thank you, Shri.
Thanks,
Thank you, Ritesh.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
God bless you. Bye.